American Horror Story, Coven, episode review for The Replacements, and what the fuck? That statement right there best describes what I saw in this episode. I mean, that shit was just out of control. It was unsettling at parts, disturbing at other parts, just downright, plain old, straight up weird. But even though it was crazy for sure, I gotta say, it has been the episode that I have liked the least so far this season. And I'll explain why, but let's start with what I considered to be the best part of the episode. It was Fiona's story and her dealing with Madison. I really liked the little bit of backstory we got about Fiona at the beginning, where she kills the former Supreme to basically take all of her powers and take her place. Fiona's cutthroat. Get it? And we find out that there's a new Supreme comes along. When it does, the current Supreme gets progressively weaker as the new one gets stronger, basically just sucking the life energy out of the current Supreme. I think that's a pretty neat idea. I like that. Another scene I really liked with Fiona was her talking, voiceover style, about how she just basically, throughout the years, is just snagging guy after guy. She's just luring them in. And it's that voiceover is happening during this scene where the camera zooms in on this young guy, and he just walks right past her and goes over to this other lady. And then we find out that Madison is the new Supreme. I didn't expect it to be Madison, but we found it out when she decided to go super slut to the rescue to over to their new neighbor's house. I'll get to that in a little bit, but she starts displaying multiple powers. So Fiona takes her in, at least pretends that she's doing so, spends time with her. Of course, then at the end, she kills her. And I didn't really understand, I liked the entire thing with Fiona and Madison, except for right at the very end during that final scene where she kills her. It seemed like it seemed like she's the one that really wanted Madison to kill her, but then she killed Madison possibly by accident, and it looked like she was upset for maybe half a second, and then she was like, oh well, good, glad it's done. So it's almost like it was an accident, spur of the moment, but then she just kind of is happy that it's done, even though it was an accident. I'm not 100% sure about that, and that's kind of why I didn't really like that last scene, because I wasn't sure how I was supposed to take it, but maybe they're going to explain it more in a later episode. I'm not sure. All right, so let's talk about Zoe next. And, well, I don't know about Zoe. I can't tell if I should like her or not, because she's making some stupid fucking decisions. So let's start from the beginning, though. One thing I thought was kind of weird was, she was sympathizing with Kyle's mom, and as Kyle's mom was talking, Zoe was just, based on her facial expressions and her reactions, she was acting as though she knew Kyle for, a long period of time. Like, they had been friends for some extended period of time. When they actually only met at a party one time, and what we saw on screen was basically like a 7-minute conversation, probably not even that between the two of them. So it's kind of hard for me to get behind these, they're trying to portray she has these deep-seated feelings for Kyle, when in reality, she barely knew him. So anyway, she goes to get Kyle back from Misty, who healed his body, mostly, with Louisiana mud. But Kyle, mentally, he's still pretty much dead. And then Zoe does one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. She thinks it's a good idea to take Frank and Kyle to see his mom. Which, how did she expect that to work out? Eventually, the mom was going to tell people, and they were going to be like, oh, this boy who was ripped to pieces is back, and the cops are obviously going to know that something weird went down. How did she think that was going to work out like that? Not to mention that Kyle is absolutely mentally unstable, and leaving him alone with his mom is a terrible, awful idea that anybody should have known, but apparently not Zoe. So I thought it was a terrible idea for that, but then it turns out to be a terrible idea for a completely other reason. A big switcheroo. Kyle's mom is like a gigantic freaking pervert, and she starts just basically sexually assaulting her son, which apparently has been going on for an extended period of time while Kyle was alive, and it was just so weird to hear his mom talk about how she knows his body, knows that's not his body. Oh, man. Nasty stuff. So, again, way to go, Zoe. Spectacular idea. And I gotta say, at first, I was fearful that Kyle's mom was gonna be the one to die. But, of course, after what happened, I could not wait for Kyle to stand up to her and just fucking own her. And that is exactly what he did. Unfortunately, though, he did it while nobody was there, so nobody could see the super perv that his mom was. So now he kind of looks like the bad guy. So the family that moves in next to the witch school is unbelievably religious. But the fact of that guy that both Nan and Madison were trying to win over, he was more interested in Nan and her cake than he was in Madison and her extremely slut-tastic dress. Alright, so let's talk about Kathy Bates a little bit. Again, I did not expect her to be used this way on the show, especially with that opening scene in the first episode. But the first time we see her on this episode, she is sobbing in tears over the fact that Barack Obama is the president. And even though Fiona is a terrible, awful person herself, at least she's not a racist, because apparently she really hates racist people. And she winds up making the madam Queenie's slave, basically. And then we had Bastion the Minotaur coming on the attack against Queenie and basically the madam. And I liked the way it started. It started out cool. And when Queenie went out there to go after the Minotaur, I thought she was going to whoop some ass with her crazy power. But boy, was I wrong. Totally went in a direction I wasn't expecting. She basically goads the Minotaur into having sex with her. Never thought I would ever see that on a TV show. So we had a little bit with Cordelia on this episode, but not even the black magic was able to get her pregnant. She just can't have kids no matter what she does, except she knows about a fertility spell that Marie can do. So she goes there and tries to convince Marie to, do the spell, but Marie's like, well, your mom already came here and pissed me off, so I'm not going to do it. And I thought the fertility spell scene was cool. I thought they were actually doing it, but then it didn't happen. It was just something for, us as viewers to watch. And I saw superheated, bubbly man juice explode. And, again, never thought I would see that on a TV show. So my favorite part of the show, like I said, it was the whole arc with Fiona and Madison. Thought that was very interesting. So my least favorite part of the show, there were some scenes I didn't like, but it was mainly because of the character reactions to what was happening. I just feel like myself as a viewer, I wasn't given enough to go on throughout the show so far to have the characters react the way they did. I'm talking about Zoe reacting to Kyle's mom in that conversation near the beginning. Like, she really didn't know Kyle all that long. Yeah, it's tragic what happened to him, but her reaction gave off the impression that she had known him and had been some sort of good friend to him for a long period of time. That's not the case. And then, again, with Queenie wanting to be Minotaur raped. I mean, yeah, they talked about how she's still a virgin and how she was picked on because of her looks and her size, but they never, I don't think they did enough to show us that the character was so, beaten down by that she was willing to let herself, be mounted by a Minotaur. It just feels like the show didn't do enough to show me why the characters would react in that manner. So overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a B-. Even though this episode had some of the strangest and most unsettling moments on the show so far, some of the, reasons and reactions of the characters didn't really jive with me so much. Alright, JB Squared, 61279. This was an American Horror Story Coven review, and I will see you guys next time.